So I checked out another Christmas horror anthology on Tubi, and it's currently streaming. It's free, and I highly suggest going to check it out because it was another one that I very much enjoyed. And this is fully horror comedy, and again, very well done with the acting and using its low budget to its most extreme and efficient use kind of thing when it comes to delivering everything they can and really making an engaging experience when it comes to a low budget film, and I really like that. Very good acting all throughout, and good on like the practical effects. And there's some good gore effects in this one, especially like two or three specific ones that are really like splattery, and definitely go for the gross out. One specifically, I'll say in the second skit. But essentially, this one's weird because we have two. It's hard to say though, and there's a lot that I'm gonna have to leave out too, just to not get into spoiler territory. Because this is a very interesting anthology in the sense that a lot of events that take place in this movie really do intersect and come full circle. There's two segments that I can talk about fully because they're kind of on their own. The first segment involves this guy and girl who are dating. I'm not exactly sure for how long, but they're a couple, and the girl invites the guy over for Christmas dinner to meet the family. Now, she says immediately from the get-go that the family is a little bit eccentric and strict. I think she uses that term, and just for him to be careful. But then, for reasons completely unexplained, right after she says this, they decide to take some shrooms. Which she's fine with, apparently, throughout the segment, but it obviously trips him the fuck out. And then they go to the family's house, and, he's tripping the whole time. But the family starts to become a little bit more awkward as time goes on, and you're starting to wonder as an audience whether he's tripping balls and imagining these things or if they're actually happening. And then there's, reveals back and forth with that kind of back and forth kind of thinking on what's going on. And I'd say the reveals were pretty funny. The acting was really good in this segment, and everybody delivered the awkwardness really well. And the theme of the segment was really well executed, and I really had a good time with it all throughout. And then there's the second segment, and I didn't like this one a whole lot, to be honest. So we went from a really great segment to a really very mediocre segment outside of the final kill, I'll say, in this segment, which was excellent and very gross out. I won't say what it involves, but it's the most gross out in the whole movie kind of thing. The segment itself I didn't really like. It involves this like urban legend of this girl who died way back when, and they call her like Drunk Destiny or something, or Drunk Desiree, something like that. Dance, like DDD kind of thing, Dancing Drunk Destiny or Drunk Dire. I forget the name of this ghostly figure, but you're supposed to take 3 shots and chant her name, and then she comes around, and it's these 3 girls who do so. These 3 girls are also trying to enter this contest where it's one of those kind of reality game shows where there's these like 2 hot guys, and they're looking for a girl, and the girl has to like send in a video, and then they pick the girl and go on like a date or something. It's one of those, and they're making videos to send on to this reality show. But then they call this ghostly girl, and then shit happens from there. It's okay. It was kind of weird, and just didn't seem to go anywhere. It was kind of lame, just the plot. They didn't seem to do much with that segment, so it was kind of like that was eye rolling a lot throughout it, and it was just very mediocre for me. But like I said, the kill at the end itself was pretty well done, and the effects that they did throughout that short was really well done. And so overall, I'd say in this anthology, there's like 3 stories essentially, but like the third story is part of the wraparound. So I would say the entire wraparound, including from the beginning of the film towards the very end of the film, is connected when it comes to the wraparound. And I can't really say too much because there's a lot of reveals involving the wraparound from the beginning, middle, and end that would just probably spoil a little bit too much. But I will say that essentially the wraparound is about a nurse that's working at a hospital, and she's treating this older gentleman on a wheelchair. He looks like he's in his 70s or 80s, and he's telling these stories to her, kind of to pass the time, essentially. And he's a little bit eccentric and strange himself, obviously for telling these horror Christmas stories on her shift, kind of thing. But then she has to like get home to have Christmas with her mom, and her mom gets involved in the story, and the old man kind of gets involved in the story too. So there's a lot of characters built throughout that have to do with this wraparound story, and I liked it. Pretty predictable. I would say that like there's no reveals that happen in the wraparound that I wasn't seeing coming, especially after a certain bit of the film. But they were still funny and entertaining, and I would say I wouldn't call it slapstick humor, but there's a lot of like funny fights that go on and choreography, and it is really low budget. And again, this is a movie that utilizes its budget fantastic. Um, and I liked like the humorous scenes that they would throw in because they were really goofy, but intentionally goofy, and just certain comedic moments and comedic timing that this film was able to do, I really really liked. And it kept me on my feet, and the horror is decent, but the comedy was even more clever, I would say, and as comedy should be and usually needs to be. But I would recommend this one highly. I think outside of that second short, that really didn't was my thing essentially. The one involving the couple with the family was really good, and then the wraparound is also really really good. This is another recommendation, just like the other two anthologies that I already reviewed on the channel. So I definitely say go check this out on Tubi. It's free. Why not? And it has a lot of Christmas charm to it. A lot of reds, a lot of greens, a lot of really well utilized and well done low budget cinema, essentially, that I think is very, although horror, so I don't know if festive is the right word, but it definitely makes you feel like Christmas if you like the more macabre kind of things like I do. So, yeah, go check it out. Subscribe to Morgan Film Fan if you like to listen to my voice or if you like my film reviews. I'll be back with more soon, so stay tuned for those. Check out what's on the channel already. Stay tuned for what's coming. Until next review, have a good one. Take care and cheers.